Welcome back to our channel. A penny today can lead to big rewards tomorrow. Don't underestimate its power. In 1987, amidst the bustling world of American coinage, a small yet significant piece of history was quietly minted. To the average person, the 1987 1-cent penny might have appeared like any other, just another copper coin to be spent in exchange for a candy bar, a soda, or a parking meter. But in the world of numismatics, this penny holds a far deeper story, one of rarity, mystery, and the potential for incredible value. For decades, it went largely unnoticed, with most people assuming it was simply part of everyday currency. However, behind its unassuming exterior, the 1987 penny carries an unexpected allure that, in time, would make it one of the most sought-after coins in the world. The story of the 1987 penny begins, as many stories do, with the United States Mint, the institution tasked with producing the nation's coinage. In 1987, the United States was in the midst of an era of both economic growth and change. Under the leadership of President Ronald Reagan, the country had seen a resurgence of optimism, and the mint was hard at work creating coins that reflected the spirit of the time. The 1-cent penny, which had been a staple of American currency since its introduction in the 1790s, continued to feature the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, an enduring symbol of the nation's values of unity and freedom. The design of the 1987 penny was unchanged from previous years, with Abraham Lincoln's image on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. It was a design that had been in circulation for decades, a familiar sight to anyone who handled American coins. However, there was something about this particular year, the 1987 penny, that made it stand out, something that most people wouldn't even notice until much later. As is often the case in the world of numismatics, something as simple as a small minting error could turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. At the time, most people had no idea that the 1987 penny would become a collector's dream. It was just another year, another batch of pennies being stamped out in mass production. The coin's design, created by the talented engraver Frank Gasparo, was nothing out of the ordinary, just a faithful rendering of the 1909 Lincoln cent, with Lincoln's likeness on the front and the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the back. The penny's composition, a mix of copper and zinc, ensured that it would continue to circulate for years to come. But as with many coins, what seemed ordinary at the time would later be revealed as extraordinary. For most coins, once they are produced, they are placed into circulation and are used for everyday transactions. In the case of the 1987 penny, however, it was a series of unique circumstances that would eventually elevate this coin into the realm of rare collectibles. As is the case with most coins, a very small percentage of them are struck with minting flaws or errors that make them distinctive. These errors can range from off-center strikes to double-die varieties, and in some cases, the flaws can make a coin far more valuable than its face value. The 1987 penny became one such coin, an unassuming error that would go unnoticed by most. It wasn't immediately clear to collectors that something was wrong, but as the years went on, some sharp-eyed numismatists began to notice subtle differences in the 1987 pennies they were collecting. Certain coins appeared to have an unusually strong strike, while others seemed to have minor distortions or unusual characteristics that couldn't be easily explained by the typical wear and tear of circulation. These subtle imperfections, often imperceptible to the untrained, caught the attention of collectors who were already on the lookout for rare and unusual coins. It wasn't long before these errors began to be identified as a small batch of 1987 pennies that had been struck with a worn or damaged die. This caused the coins to exhibit certain characteristics that made them stand out from their counterparts. The distortion in the die led to an unusual doubling of certain elements in the design, most notably, the lettering and the details of Lincoln's portrait. This type of error is known as a double die, and it's one of the most sought-after and valuable types of minting flaws in the world of coin collecting. While the 1987 penny might have seemed like just another standard coin, this particular variety with the double die error became an instant sensation among collectors. As word began to spread about the rare 1987 pennies, interest in them surged. Dealers and collectors who had initially overlooked the coins suddenly found themselves eagerly searching for these elusive error pennies, aware that they could fetch a substantial premium in the marketplace. But as is often the case in the world of coin collecting, rarity is key. The number of 1987 double-die pennies was limited, and as demand grew, so did the value of these coins. In the years following the discovery of the 1987 double-die pennies, collectors began to take notice of how much these coins were being sold for. While most pennies were worth well, a penny, these error coins were being traded for significantly higher amounts. It wasn't just the novelty of the error that made these coins special, it was the fact that they were so difficult to find. After all, not every 1987 penny had the double die error, only a select few were struck with this unique flaw. The rarity of these coins, combined with the growing interest from collectors, ensured that the value of the 1987 penny would only continue to rise. As time went on, the 1987 double die penny became a symbol of the unpredictable nature of coin collecting. It served as a reminder that even the most ordinary of objects, like a penny, could hold extraordinary value if it possessed the right characteristics. While some may have looked at the coin and seen nothing more than a simple piece of change, collectors saw something entirely different, a piece of American history, a rare artifact that had somehow slipped through the cracks of the minting process. The discovery of the 1987 double die penny also marked a shift in the way collectors approached their hobby. It demonstrated that, in the world of numismatics, even the smallest detail could turn a seemingly insignificant coin into a priceless treasure. Coin collectors became more discerning, paying closer attention to even the most minute variations in design. And as the 1987 penny became more and more sought after, its value began to climb to staggering heights. Fast forward to today, and the 1987 double die penny has become one of the most coveted coins in the world of modern numismatics. What was once just another penny in circulation has transformed into a highly valuable collector's item, with some specimens selling for astronomical prices. The value of the 1987 double die penny has continued to increase as more collectors realize just how rare and special these coins are. Now, imagine holding one of these rare 1987 double die pennies in your hand. It may look like just another ordinary penny at first glance, but upon closer inspection, you'll see the subtle details that make it so extraordinary. And if you're fortunate enough to have one of these pennies in your collection, you're holding something truly remarkable, something that could be worth far more than its humble face value. So, how much is a 1987 double die penny worth today? Well, prepare to be amazed, because these rare coins can now fetch an incredible $140,000. That's right, $140,000 for a penny that, just a few decades ago, would have been spent on something as simple as a cup of coffee or a newspaper. It's a staggering amount for a coin that was once overlooked and underappreciated. This incredible rise in value is a testament to the unpredictable nature of coin collecting. It shows that in the world of numismatics, anything is possible. A seemingly ordinary coin, one that most people would overlook without a second thought, can become a treasure worth more than anyone could have imagined. And as the 1987 double die penny continues to soar in value, it serves as a reminder that the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, where even the smallest mistake can lead to the discovery of something truly priceless. So, the next time you come across a penny, take a closer look. It might just be a piece of history waiting to be discovered. After all, in the world of coin collecting, you never know when you might stumble upon a hidden treasure. In the year 1998, the world was a different place. The digital revolution was taking hold, the internet was beginning to change lives, and the American economy was booming. Yet, in the midst of all this transformation, one small object remained largely unchanged: the humble penny. The 1998 1-cent coin was produced during a time of quiet stability in the American economy, but for those with a keen eye and a passion for numismatics, this particular penny would come to symbolize much more than just 5 cents. At first glance, the 1998 penny may seem like an unremarkable piece of currency. It features the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln, a figure that had been on the 1-cent coin since 1909. The reverse side of the penny depicts the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been in use since 1959. To most people, the 1998 penny was just another coin, circulating in vast quantities and spending its days passing from hand to hand, much like all pennies before it. But unbeknownst to most, within this particular year of minting, a twist of fate was about to occur, one that would transform the 1998 penny from an ordinary coin into an extraordinary collector's item. As with most coins, the design of the 1998 penny was produced by the United States Mint, which had long been responsible for minting the nation's currency. The penny's design had been stable for decades, featuring Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, front, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, back. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, is often regarded as one of the nation's greatest leaders, and his image had adorned the penny since the early 20th century. Meanwhile, the reverse side of the coin, which had featured the Lincoln Memorial since 1959, stood as a tribute to the man who worked tirelessly to preserve the Union during the Civil War. The minting of the 1998 penny, however, came with a set of circumstances that few could have predicted. The design itself, though familiar, was still subject to subtle variations, even if most observers wouldn't notice them. Minting processes could sometimes lead to variations in the coins produced, from slight differences in the quality of the strikes to unusual imperfections that could result in rare errors. This is where the 1998 penny becomes especially interesting. The penny itself was primarily composed of copper-plated zinc, a standard mixture for pennies produced after 1982. The decision to change the penny's composition in 1982, moving from a pure copper coin to one with a copper-plated zinc core, had been a significant shift in the history of American coinage. While this change helped reduce costs, it also resulted in pennies that were lighter and had a slightly different tone compared to the earlier copper-based coins. For the casual observer, the 1998 penny seemed to blend right in with the rest of its peers, carrying on the tradition of its predecessors with little fanfare, but as time passed, numismatists began to take notice of certain subtle details. Some collectors, always on the lookout for rare coins with flaws or unique features, began to notice that certain 1998 pennies appeared slightly different from the rest. Upon closer inspection, they realized that a number of these pennies had experienced minor minting errors that would eventually make the coin a standout in the world of coin collecting. These imperfections, though seemingly small, were enough to make a once ordinary penny highly desirable among collectors. One of the most significant types of error that began to surface was the double die variety. A double die error occurs when a coin is struck more than once, resulting in a misalignment that causes part of the design to appear doubled. This can affect the lettering, numbers, or even the image itself. In the case of the 1998 penny, certain examples were struck with a noticeable doubling of Lincoln's portrait or the lettering on the obverse, making them much more valuable than their standard counterparts. What made the 1998 penny even more intriguing was the fact that these errors weren't widely spread throughout the mintage. Only a small portion of the 1998 penny struck that year displayed these unique characteristics. The result was a rare coin that would later become highly sought after in the numismatic world. For collectors, the 1998 double die penny was like discovering a hidden treasure. This error became a key focal point for those who were already on the lookout for rare coins to add to their collections. The appeal was simple: a unique and rare coin that was, in essence, a mistake by the mint, but a mistake that made it even more valuable. However, as with most collectible coins, the value of the 1998 penny didn't skyrocket overnight. At first, the error pennies were mostly found by dedicated collectors who kept a close eye on their change. These collectors would scour through their pennies, carefully examining each one for any signs of unusual wear or errors. The discovery of a 1998 double die penny could send collectors into a frenzy, as they realized that these coins were far rarer than anyone had initially assumed. As the years passed, the value of the 1998 error penny began to rise steadily. The rarity of the coin, combined with the increasing interest in error coins among collectors, contributed to its growing appeal. Dealers and collectors began to actively seek out these unique pennies, with many willing to pay a premium for a well-preserved specimen. What had once been a coin of little consequence was now a prized possession in the world of numismatics, but it wasn't just the double die errors that made the 1998 penny special. There were also other variations and imperfections that caught the eye of collectors. Some 1998 pennies exhibited unusual wear patterns, such as missing details on the Lincoln Memorial or odd discoloration caused by improper die preparation. These variations, though subtle, contributed to the overall appeal of the coin and made it even more desirable to those in the know. As the numismatic community began to recognize the rarity and value of the 1998 penny, it wasn't long before these coins started to appear at auctions, where they would fetch prices far beyond their face value. It was at these auctions that the true value of the 1998 error penny was revealed. For many collectors, owning a 1998 penny with a rare minting flaw became a point of pride. As the demand for these coins grew, so did their value. The 1998 penny, once a simple 5-cent piece in the pockets of Americans, had now become one of the most valuable and sought-after coins in modern coin collecting. The rarity of the error pennies, combined with their historical significance, made them highly desirable among collectors looking to complete their collections with unique and valuable specimens. Now, let's talk about the coin's value. For many years, the value of the 1998-era penny remained relatively modest, with examples fetching several $100s depending on the degree of the error and the condition of the coin. However, as time went on and the rarity of these pennies became more apparent, their value skyrocketed. Today, a well-preserved 1998 double-die penny can be worth an astonishing $132,000. That's right, $132,000 for a single penny that, at first glance, might seem like just another coin. It's a staggering amount for a coin that, in the eyes of most, was once just part of everyday change. But in the world of coin collecting, rarity, history, and uniqueness can transform even the most ordinary items into treasures worth far more than their face value. So, the next time you find yourself holding a 1998 penny in your hand, take a moment to examine it closely. You might just be holding a small piece of numismatic history, a coin that, despite its humble beginnings, could one day be worth a fortune. As the year 2000 arrived, the world was filled with anticipation. There was excitement over the turn of the millennium, with people eagerly counting down the seconds until the new century began. Meanwhile, in the world of coin collecting, a small but significant event was quietly unfolding in the United States. The 2001 cent penny, like all pennies before it, seemed to be just another everyday coin to most. But what seemed like an ordinary coin, circulating freely among the public, would eventually become a rare and highly coveted collector's item, a coin worth far more than its humble face value. The story of the 2000 penny is one that spans both history and mystery, weaving together the fascinating world of American numismatics with the changes that were taking place at the turn of the century. As we delve into the rich history of this particular penny, we'll uncover the layers of significance, from its design and minting process to the rare errors that made it stand out among the billions of coins produced that year. To begin, let's take a step back in time and look at the context in which the 2000 penny was born. The 1-cent coin, or penny, had long been a staple of American currency, with its distinctive copper color and humble size. The design of the penny, featuring President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, the front, had been in circulation since 1909, and it had seen very little change over the years. However, by the late 1990s, there were discussions about potentially redesigning the penny to reflect the new century. The minting of the penny, as with all U.S. coins, was managed by the United States Mint, an institution that has been responsible for the production of America's coinage for centuries. In 2000, the Mint was preparing to enter a new era, one that would require it to balance tradition with innovation. While the design of the penny would not change significantly, certain elements of the production process were evolving, influenced by the new technologies that were becoming more prevalent. These advances would eventually lead to the introduction of new types of errors, subtle yet striking flaws that would catch the eyes of keen-eyed collectors. The 2000 penny itself was minted using a composition of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, a material change that had been implemented back in 1982. The shift from pure copper to this new alloy was made to reduce costs, as copper prices had risen significantly. While the penny's composition was different, its design remained the same: the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, created by Victor David Brenner, and the reverse design featuring the Union Shield, which had been introduced in 1959. But the penny minted in 2000 wasn't just a continuation of what had come before. There was something unique about the way these coins were being produced. As we delve deeper into the story of the 2000 penny, we'll see how a combination of circumstances, the advent of new technologies, the complexities of minting, and even the sheer volume of coins being produced, led to the creation of a coin that would capture the attention of collectors for years to come. As with most coins, the vast majority of 2000 pennies were minted without any major issues. They were mass-produced by the millions and distributed into circulation, where they would serve their role as everyday currency. Yet, among these billions of coins, a few began to stand out, not because they were particularly rare at first, but because they were struck with something that would later make them incredibly valuable: a unique error. These errors are what have captured the attention of coin collectors around the world. One of the most intriguing errors that began to surface with the 2000 penny was the close am variety. The design of the penny, specifically the reverse side, features the words E pluribus unum and United States of America, along with the inscription 1 cent. In most pennies, these inscriptions are separated by a small gap between the A in America and the M in United. However, in a rare number of 2000 pennies, the A and M were much closer together than they were meant to be. This unique feature, known as the close AM error, was the result of a die that had worn down or been misaligned during the minting process. It was a small mistake, but one that would turn this particular penny into a coveted item for numismatists. The discovery of the close AM error sparked a frenzy in the coin collecting world. It wasn't immediately clear how many of these coins had been minted, and at first, many people thought it was just a one-off mistake. However, as more and more collectors began to find these pennies, the rarity of the close AM error became more evident. This was no longer just a fluke, there was something truly unique about these coins, and that's exactly what made them so valuable. As the years passed and the 2000 pennies continued to be examined, the value of those with the close AM error began to rise. They were becoming an increasingly rare find, as many of the coins with this flaw had already been spent or melted down. The realization that the error was not common, and that only a small percentage of the 2000 pennies exhibited it, made these coins highly desirable among collectors. Those who were lucky enough to possess a close AM penny found themselves holding a coin that was worth far more than the 1 cent it was originally struck for. While the close AM penny was the most significant error to emerge from the 2000 penny mintage, it wasn't the only error to attract attention. Other subtle flaws began to surface as well: coins with double dies, misaligned strikes, and even coins that were struck off-center. These types of errors, while less dramatic than the close AM variety, added another layer of intrigue to the 2000 penny. Each of these rare specimens had the potential to fetch a higher price than the average penny, and as collectors began to catch wind of this, the demand for the 2000 penny, particularly those with errors, began to soar. The appeal of the 2000 penny, like other rare coins, lies in its story. It's not just a coin with a mistake, it's a piece of history. It represents a specific time in the minting process, a moment when a small error turned into an opportunity for collectors to acquire something unique. The 2000 penny, particularly the close AM variety, became a symbol of the unpredictable nature of coin collecting. It demonstrated how even the smallest imperfection in the minting process could lead to a valuable and highly sought-after treasure. So, where does this leave us today? What is the current value of the 2000 penny with the close AM error? Well, to the untrained eye, it might still seem like just another penny. However, to those in the know, it's a rare and highly valuable coin. Depending on its condition and the rarity of the error, a 2000 penny with the close AM variety can be worth anywhere from several $1,000s to over $125,000. That's right, $125,000 for a penny that, just a few years ago, was little more than pocket change for most people. It's a staggering amount for a coin that, when first minted, was valued at just 1 cent. But in the world of coin collecting, where rarity, history, and the thrill of discovery come together, the value of a coin can skyrocket in ways that seem almost unbelievable. The 2000 penny, with its close AM error and other unique characteristics, serves as a reminder of how small, seemingly insignificant objects can become treasures in the world of numismatics. It's a testament to the excitement of coin collecting, where every coin has the potential to hold a story, a value, and a legacy. In 2005, the world was in the midst of the 21st century, with technological innovations changing the way we lived and worked. The United States, a country marked by its rich history and growing influence on the global stage, continued to mint its iconic 1-cent penny, a coin that had been circulating in American pockets for over a century. But, like many seemingly ordinary objects, the 2005 penny was hiding a secret, a small detail that would set it apart from its predecessors and make it highly sought after by collectors. On the surface, the 2005 1-cent penny may appear just like any other penny, a simple copper-plated zinc coin. But as we dig deeper into its history, its design, and the minting details, we'll uncover a story that speaks to the heart of American numismatics and explains why this particular penny became such a valuable find for collectors. By the end of this journey, we'll reveal just how much this coin is worth today, and trust me, it's an impressive figure that will leave you amazed. Before we talk about the rare value of the 2005 penny, let's first explore the historical context in which it was produced. The early 2000s were an exciting time for both the United States and the world. The year 2005 marked the middle of George W. Bush's second term as president, and the world was rapidly changing. The U.S. economy was still growing, though there were signs of impending economic turbulence. Meanwhile, the penny, the smallest denomination in American currency, continued to serve as an everyday part of life. By 2005, the penny had already gone through several significant transformations since its creation in 1793. For most of the 20th century, the penny had been made primarily of copper, but by 1982, rising copper prices led to a major change. The penny was restructured to consist primarily of zinc, with a thin copper coating. This change was a necessary response to economic pressures, and while it made pennies lighter and less expensive to produce, it also marked the beginning of the coin's more subtle transformations in both appearance and minting process. In 2005, the design of the penny had been the same for decades. On the obverse side of the coin, you would find the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, which had been featured on the penny since 1909. Created by Victor David Brenner, this design showed Lincoln in profile, with the inscription, "Liberty," at the top, "In God We Trust," to the left, and 2005 as the year of minting. On the reverse side, you would find the traditional Lincoln Memorial, a powerful tribute to the 16th President of the United States, symbolizing his leadership during one of the most tumultuous times in the nation's history. But what made the 2005 penny stand out from the crowd was something subtle and extraordinary, an error that would make certain versions of the coin incredibly rare and highly valuable. As with all coins, the minting process was complex and intricate, and even the smallest flaw could lead to the creation of a rare piece of numismatic history. In the case of the 2005 penny, a small but significant error was about to turn this ordinary coin into a collector's dream. As we dive into the 2005 penny's minting process, it's important to understand the role that the U.S. Mint plays in the creation of coins. The United States Mint is responsible for the production of all U.S. coins, and it uses a combination of advanced machinery and manual processes to strike coins. The process is so precise that even the tiniest error, such as a misaligned die or an issue with a strike, can result in a coin that differs from the standard issue. It was these errors that often gave rise to coins with collector value, and the 2005 penny was no exception. One of the most notable varieties of the 2005 penny is the double die error, a flaw that occurs when the coin dies are misaligned during the minting process. This causes certain elements of the design to appear doubled, such as the lettering or Lincoln's features. Double die errors are highly sought after by collectors because they are rare, and they offer a fascinating glimpse into the complexities of the minting process. The 2005 penny, like many other coins from this era, was susceptible to this kind of error. And when these coins were first discovered, they quickly became the subject of much excitement within the coin collecting community. While the 2005 penny continued to circulate freely among the public, those who were paying close attention began to spot these rare double die varieties. Coins that featured a doubled date or a doubled liberty became highly prized, fetching much higher prices than standard 2005 pennies. The hunt for these rare error pennies became a major activity for numismatists, who scoured through rolls of pennies in search of a coin that might hold hidden value. As more collectors began to realize the true potential of the 2005 penny, word began to spread about the discovery of these rare varieties. In the world of coin collecting, the appeal of error coins lies in their rarity, as well as the story they tell. Each error coin represents a unique moment in the minting process, a small mistake that creates a valuable piece of history. For collectors, finding an error coin is akin to discovering a hidden treasure. And in the case of the 2005 penny, the thrill of discovery was enough to drive up demand and prices. In addition to the double die errors, other minor errors began to emerge as well. These included misstrikes, where the coin was struck off center, as well as coins with unusual wear patterns or flaws in the design. As collectors became more and more interested in these variations, the value of the 2005 penny began to rise. What was once a coin that would simply pass through your pocket or wallet began to gain attention in the numismatic world, with dealers and collectors eagerly seeking out these rare specimens. Now, let's fast forward to the present day. Over the years, the 2005 penny has become a coveted item among serious coin collectors. The value of the coin has steadily increased as the rarity of the errors became more evident and the demand for these unique pieces grew. While the standard 2005 penny is worth just 1 cent, certain error versions of the coin, particularly those with double die flaws, can fetch extraordinary prices. In fact, the current value of the 2005 penny with a double die error can reach up to $115,000, depending on its condition and the specific details of the error. That's right, $115,000 for a penny that, in most people's eyes, was once just pocket change. It's a staggering amount for a coin that, only a few decades ago, could have been found scattered across the nation in jars, purses, and vending machines. The 2005 penny serves as a reminder of how rare and valuable certain coins can become when they possess unique characteristics, whether through error, misstrike, or design flaw. What may have seemed like an insignificant coin at the time of its minting has become a highly prized collector's item, demonstrating the power of rarity and the fascination that numismatics holds for collectors. So, the next time you find a 2005 penny in your pocket, take a closer look. You never know, you could be holding a coin that's worth far more than the face value printed on it. Whether it's a double die error or another rare variation, the 2005 penny could very well be your ticket to a significant windfall. As we move further into the 21st century, one would think that the small, humble penny, an essential part of everyday transactions for generations, might be losing its place in the currency lineup. Yet, the story of the US 1-cent coin is far from over, and the 2014 penny, in particular, holds an intriguing chapter in this ongoing narrative. What might seem like an ordinary coin to many, casually carried in pockets and forgotten in jars, has in fact become a surprising treasure in the world of coin collecting. To most, the 2014 penny may appear simple, nothing out of the ordinary, but hidden beneath its copper-plated exterior lies a story filled with history, significance, and a bit of mystery. It's hard to believe that something as small and common as the 2014 penny could hold such value. After all, pennies have been a part of American currency for centuries. But the reality is that a small number of these 2014 pennies, due to unique factors and rare errors in the minting process, have become highly prized among numismatists, collectors, and enthusiasts. To understand the true value of the 2014 penny, we need to first delve into its history. The penny, or 1-cent coin, has been in circulation since 1793, and over the years, its design has gone through various changes. Throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, the penny was made of copper and featured various designs, but the most iconic one, Abraham Lincoln's portrait, has been the mainstay since 1909. Created by the sculptor Victor David Brenner, Lincoln's image graced the coin, with the inscription, "Liberty," and the words, "In God We Trust," on the obverse, while the reverse originally featured an image of the Union Shield. In 1959, the reverse design changed, replacing the shield with a depiction of the Lincoln Memorial. This design remained in place until the mid-2000s, when, in 2009, the U.S. Mint began celebrating the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth. To honor this occasion, the reverse of the penny was redesigned to feature 4 different images that represented significant milestones in Lincoln's life. The last of these designs, the Union Shield, would remain as the reverse image for future pennies, including the 2014 version. However, despite these many changes throughout history, the basic design of the 2014 penny was relatively straightforward. The obverse still carried the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln, and the reverse featured the Union Shield, a symbol of the unity of the American states. The 2014 penny was made using a copper-plated zinc composition, the same alloy that had been in use since 1982. These pennies were minted in large quantities to meet the demand for everyday transactions, and their production process was meticulously managed by the U.S. Mint, which is responsible for producing all U.S. currency. But what makes the 2014 penny particularly intriguing, and ultimately valuable, is what happened during its minting process. As we know, the U.S. Mint produces billions of pennies every year, and most of them are distributed into circulation without much fanfare. However, over the years, a small number of errors have slipped through the cracks during the minting process, making certain pennies highly valuable. In the case of the 2014 penny, several notable error varieties began to appear, catching the attention of collectors and numismatists alike. These rare error coins would eventually spark a flurry of excitement within the collecting community, as people realized that the 2014 penny was not just another mass-produced coin, but rather, a potential treasure for those who were lucky enough to spot one of the rare mistakes. One of the most well-known errors associated with the 2014 penny is the double die variety. This occurs when the dies used to strike the coin are misaligned, resulting in certain parts of the design appearing twice, most notably in the date and the word "Liberty." The double die error is highly sought after by collectors, as it is a rare mistake that significantly increases the coin's value. A 2014 penny with a double die error could easily fetch a higher price, depending on its condition. Beyond the double die error, there were other rare issues that would have made the 2014 penny highly valuable. Misstrikes, such as off-center coins or those with irregular edges, also surfaced. These types of errors, while less common than double-die varieties, still caught the attention of collectors, as they added an extra layer of uniqueness to an already intriguing coin. Coins with unusual features, whether they had the wrong design, were struck with the wrong dies, or had imperfections from the production process, quickly found themselves in high demand. But it's not just these errors that make the 2014 penny a collector's dream. Like all coins, the 2014 penny's value is also influenced by factors such as its condition, rarity, and the demand within the coin collecting community. A coin that is in near-perfect condition, often referred to as being in uncirculated or mint state, will typically fetch a higher price than a coin that shows signs of wear. This is especially true for error coins, where the condition can determine whether the coin's value is $100 or $100,000. As these rare 2014 pennies with errors began to circulate, numismatists and coin enthusiasts started to take notice. The allure of a coin that had slipped through the cracks during minting, carrying with it a piece of history and a touch of mystery, was undeniable. Coin dealers began searching for these rarities, often paying substantial amounts for the right specimens. Collectors also eagerly sought out these coins, hoping to add them to their collections and, in some cases, make a tidy profit. The excitement around these 2014 penny errors quickly grew, and soon, they became the subject of auctions, online marketplaces, and coin shows. People were not just looking for any 2014 penny, they were looking for that rare, valuable version that could potentially change their financial future. The rarity of these error pennies, combined with the thrill of discovery, made them highly desirable to anyone with a keen eye for numismatic treasures. So, what is the current value of the 2014 penny? While most 2014 pennies are worth only 1 cent, certain rare error coins have skyrocketed in value. Depending on the specific error and the condition of the coin, a 2014 penny can be worth thousands of dollars. But that's not the most impressive part. A 2014 penny with the right combination of errors, such as a double die or off-center strike, can be worth up to $104,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A penny, which was originally minted as a 1-cent coin, could now fetch over $100,000 at auction. This astonishing value is a testament to the world of coin collecting, where rarity, history, and a little bit of luck can turn a simple piece of currency into a highly coveted treasure. The 2014 penny may have started out as a modest coin, meant to serve in daily transactions, but today, it stands as an example of how small imperfections can create significant worth. So, the next time you find yourself with a 2014 penny in your hand, take a closer look. It might just be the one that's worth more than its face value, and if it's one of the rare error coins, you could be holding a $104,000 treasure.